version of Ezekiel 16, 4-8 is very interesting. Okay, Ezekiel, prophet Ezekiel records this. When you were born, he's talking about Israel. Okay, all these parables are about Israel. Okay, but it applies to us because we are spiritual Israel. When you were born, no one cut your umbilical cord. Can you imagine being born in Rainbow Hospital and the nurses are so much caught on their cell phones? They're looking at their WhatsApp. They forget the cat cut the umbilical cord because they're watching some YouTube video. No one cut your umbilical cord. No one took care of you. You are not washed with water and purified. Nor were you rubbed with salt and wrapped for warmth. You know, you were in the cozy womb of your mother. Your mother's womb kept you warm, but you're out in this wide, wicked world. And it's so cold out there, and you don't have any clothes on. And these nurses are playing with their fiddling with their phones. You're not rubbed with salt. You're not wrapped for warmth. No one felt sorry for you, had compassion on you, or did anything to help you. Instead, your parents abandoned you, tossed you out into the open field. Can you imagine a parent who took a baby and then just sort of, took a blade from the husband's razor and cut the umbilical cord and tossed the baby into a dustbin which was available outside the hospital? That's what happened to this baby. Verse 6, then I passed by and saw you squirming around in your blood, because even your blood has not been cleaned. You still have blood, the blood that you picked up when you were in your mother's womb. As you lay there in your own blood, I said to you, live. That's the gospel I preach. The gospel I preach is you are dead in sin, and this death is actually second death, and to be burning in the lake of fire called hell. But you don't have to live a living hell and go to a little hell, but you can live. You can really live. L-I-V-E, all capital letters. Jesus said, I've come to give you life to the full. You don't even know what life is until you begin a living daily relationship with Jesus. That's the gospel I preach. One word, it is live. As you lay in your own blood, I said to you, live. Again, I insisted, live. And that's exactly what you did. I helped you flourish like plants in the field. In the time you grew, you became tall and beautiful, a tall, beautiful young woman. Your breasts developed and your hair grew thick and long, and you are still naked and bare. You're no longer a baby now. You're a young woman ready for marriage. And I passed you by again. I saw you were old enough to love and to be loved, so I offered myself to you in marriage. Jesus proposed in marriage to you. You didn't go behind Jesus. Jesus came after you. When you and I were still sinners on the highway to hell, highway of living hell, going to a little hell, in that meeting in heaven that took place eternity past, when Jesus put up his hand and he said, Father, give me a body. You read that in Hebrews chapter 10, the first few verses. Father, give me a body. Jesus took that body, entered the world, and he came after you to propose in love to you. I offered myself to you in marriage. I have wrapped my garment to cover your nakedness. He gave us the garment of salvation. We were naked in sin, but he gave us the garment of salvation. The same thing is mentioned in the book of Ruth, chapter 4, 5 and 6. Now, Jesus is mentioned in the Old Testament in shadow, and in the New Testament in substance. In the Old Testament, this widow called Ruth likes this agricultural landowner called Boaz. There's an age gap between them, but she's falling in love with this guy because this guy is an epitome of, he lived out the godly life of Yahweh. He lived out in the New Testament. He lived like Jesus. If he would live in the New Testament, he lived like Jesus. She wanted to marry him, and he too liked her. But there was, according to the word of God, somebody else had to give that opportunity, get that opportunity. There was a closer relative. And in chapter 4, 5 and 6, that close relative is given a chance according to the rules found in Deuteronomy 25, 5 to 10. And the closer relative actually, it is told him, you have to buy back the land, because the land of Ruth didn't belong to her. He lost her husband, financial trouble. That land is in trouble, because with that land she's taken a lot of loans. I'm putting it very simple. I'm just giving you the overall story. So you have to pay Ruth's loans, and not just that, this guy had to, after paying her loans, also get married to her according to the rules of those times and give her a child. And this man said, no, I'm not ready to do it. When others backed out of your life, now you thought, now this boyfriend of yours with whom you slept with now and then, who showered you with all the flowery words, he would be that boy who will give you purpose and meaning in life. But one day you figured out, when he went to the toilet leaving his phone because of that incoming call from another girl, you realized you were not the only girl in his life. And you felt abandoned. You felt that this particular philosophy by that particular God-man, this is what will give you meaning in life. And then one day the news came out as the headlines in the newspaper, that particular God-man that you followed was having a sexual affair with one of his female devotees. You feel abandoned. You went behind that God-man, you went behind that boy, you feel abandoned. When you feel abandoned, when Ruth thinks, is there anyone who will marry me? This closer relative was supposed to pay her loans and marry her according to the Bible book of Deuteronomy 25, 5 to 10. He backed out. That's when Boaz came in. Boaz is symbolic of Jesus. When others backed out, when religion backed out, when science backed out, when worldly pleasures backed out, when you name whoever you want to name backed out, that's when Jesus came. But only he qualifies, because only one, he is the only one in this world who never ever sinned. So that's the first thing. What's the first thing? When we were abandoned by other men, Jesus came to propose love to us.